Welcome to the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle. We get together because we like each other's company. We like experimenting together. We like learning from each other and sharing discoveries. And we sometimes even do a little business together. So this morning we have a special guest with us, Bethany Bland, and we're going to talk about Facebook. But in the meantime, to begin with, it's always nice to have all of our participants introduce themselves. So I'm going to change my screen right now so that everybody can be seen. And let's see. I'm gonna start with the last person to join us this morning. So I think it was you, Matthew. So how would you like to introduce yourself?
Well, good morning. I'm fairly new to this group, as well as probably the last person to join. Anyways, but I love being here, and this is a fantastic group of people that I've come to really enjoy working with. So I'm Matthew Powell with Coastline Marketing, and I specialize in creating content for things like websites and people's blogs and newsletters, etc. And it's a beautiful day here in Victoria. Thank you.
Yes, it is, isn't it? I had to turn around and look. So happy you made it here, Matthew. And now I think Fred, you should be next.
Yes, thank you very much, Lola. And I'm Fred Jones, the creator of Our Future Leaders, where I help young people gain communication and leadership skills so they can become the leaders that our world needs so badly. I'm also located on Vancouver Island, but I'm about 90 kilometers north of Victoria on the west coast of British Columbia in Canada. I'm on my friend's boat hiding away from COVID-19.
Welcome here. Okay. Let me see. Vivek? You're muted, Vivek.
Yeah. Namaste. My name is Vivekanand. I am proud to share my belief with Steve Jobs and Leonardo da Vinci, who said, "Simplicity is the ultimate in sophistication." I aim to bring time-tested wisdom and happiness together into your business and life by unifying, simplifying, and amplifying simple technology and tools. Wake Technology is my company. Together, let us wake up our potential. So that's my introduction. I am presently in Reading, England. The weather has been pretty cold for me. Last few days, it's getting better. So yeah, glad to be here. I have been attending this group for a few years now. So
Yes, in case you didn't know, Bethany, this group has been running for 5 or 6 years. You'd think we would have it all down cold by now, wouldn't you?
Well, technology changes just about every day, so it's just what it is.
Yes. So, David.
Hello, I'm Dave Flannery from Rock Falls, Illinois, with affordable websites for small businesses, where we got dumped on this morning with about 4 to 5 inches of snow.
No, more.
More?
Yeah.
If people don't know, Bethany is my daughter, and she's graciously come to help the old man out and teach us about Facebook.
Right.
So I'm proud to have her here.
Wow. So thank you, David. And David usually functions as the wingman, but we haven't figured out how to do that on StreamYard yet. So if we stay here, we will have to work that out.
Yeah, Javita is in YouTube.
Yes, I'm just showing Javita's greeting on the screen right now. So Javita is our friend in Mumbai. So and
Also, we are broadcasting in YouTube and Facebook and on the website.
Right on. Thank you for checking, David. I really appreciate that. And I guess I really didn't say very much about myself. As all of you know, I'm Lola Ann, and I have two websites, lolaann.com and beingyourown.ceo.com. I like to help retirees start an online business and or do some a website. So and I am in Victoria, as are Matthew and Fred. So now we were going to talk about Facebook and who better to have than somebody connected to one of our members. So I probably should have asked you for some sort of a bio, Bethany, but maybe you could introduce yourself to begin with. Tell us, we know you're in Rock Falls, but tell us what you do and how you, and how you make use of Facebook.
Well, so I actually, I've been at my employer for 16 years. I work for a chamber of commerce. So we really work directly with businesses in a small town. So a lot of what we do is we use our own Facebook and then we train other people how to do it. So if you're a small business and you don't have a lot of support, it's really nice to have somebody help you learn how to use the basics. And then if that's not enough and they need extra help, then we refer them on to other people. So basically, our Facebook serves as a informational place for local businesses, so they know about the services and events that we have going on. And then we also work as a community information place as well. So like I can think of a time recently we had a boil order in town and our office was aware of it and we made it aware to the community, and it just kind of went viral because no one else was sharing that information. So we sometimes work as a community bulletin board sort of that way. So at one time when we had our Facebook, I haven't checked in recent time, and a lot's changed with Facebook. It changes every day, let alone like every year or 6 months, 3 months, those things. But we were ranked extremely high on our Facebook page, kind of in the top 10% of nonprofits in the United States. So, you know, we kind of figured out the groove and how to use it and what to do. There's actually a very large change coming to Facebook very soon. I don't know if it's going to be like today, this week, this month, exactly when it's going to line up. It was announced yesterday. So a lot of information that I am aware of is likely to change soon. So I'm going to give you guys some resources. Focus on, you know, how can you use Facebook for your customers or for your business? And then second, some resources that you can use to make your Facebook better, tools and things that you would want to know. And then third, I'm going to provide you with a link to a webinar that I use regularly. The person who hosts it actually updates it every time there's a change on Facebook or Instagram. And you can use that just to kind of keep up to date because like I noticed today, I logged into my Facebook and they were already starting to make changes. Now, our account is large enough that we often get beta tested for things. So that means that I have a lot of glitches in my account because they don't tell us or don't let us pick, but they'll just kind of roll out some changes and see how it works for us and how many times we complain about it, which is actually quite frequent because Facebook doesn't ask its users, what would you like? Facebook tends to make changes that they think that we want. So if you think about how Facebook works, they use algorithms, so fancy math and science to figure out what I as a user like and then show that to me or provide that service to me. But they never ask me as a user, which would you like to see more of, or what would you like to do? So it's kind of a learning game constantly. But as a small business, and it kind of listening to some of the pre-chat to the show, it sounds like you work for a lot of small businesses and nonprofits. The thing to remember with Facebook is balancing the time that you invest in having a good Facebook page with the fact that it's totally free. Now I'll talk a little bit about like paid ads and things like that you can pay for and how that works. But I tell local businesses, you just need to be on Facebook because people are going to look for you on Facebook. So if you're not going to be an interactive user and post all the time and get the most out of it, you need to basically have Facebook work as a landing page and make it kind of clear to the user that you're not a regular interactive person on Facebook, but call us at this phone number. Here's our website. I do have a page that we work kind of like that. Like we also rent out a community building. I don't really want to take bookings through Facebook. So we just kind of have it as a landing page that directs people to our website, but it has all the contact information and some basic posts a couple times a year. Now, our chamber page that we use, we're constantly interacting on all day, every day, as much as possible. So we, keep that up to date. We find it as a major asset for us. It is the #1 way that we communicate with the community for no charge. So that's kind of a quick intro into what I'm doing. And would you mind switching back so I can see everybody in one screen? I don't have that control on my side, but it actually kind of helps me to be able to see where we're going, ask questions, and interact better. So my first question for today is, who has a Facebook? Okay.
I think we all do.
All do. Okay, good. Well, I speak to a lot of different groups and everybody's all over the place. Who uses Facebook for business so you actually have it as a business page for yourself? Okay. I will throw out here too, I know we have people that are in different countries, so there are going to be things that are different internationally, and that may be different, but some of the things will be the same. So since you're already doing that, that's a good start. That's a good place to be. I think probably that gives me an indicator that you guys are at least medium to higher level users on Facebook, probably pretty involved. So let's kind of get into more of tips and tricks or questions that you guys might have. Go ahead.
So when you talk about a landing page, do you mean just a Facebook page? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, let me see if I can give you an example of what I mean. It's just a Facebook page. It's not anything fancy, but it's just kind of basic. Has all the correct information so that somebody can find you. I'm gonna put it on the screen here in just a second of what I have an example of. It's not something that we interact with a lot, but it's something that is out there because people are going to search for it. It doesn't matter what business you're in. The statistics are that before somebody makes a purchase, 80% of people are going to look for your information online. And I typically look at Facebook. I'm in my late 30s. And for me, I want to see, is that business open? Do they have positive things said by their customers? Are they community minded? That sort of thing. So let me get my screen share up here in just a second.
Yeah.
Our internet's running just a little bit slow, but it's all right.
We have some comments out here. There's one from, do you play Roblox on this stream at all?
No.
I don't think so.
I think you're in the wrong one.
And then there's another comment here. It says, how big is Fred? I don't know what that means.
It means when you open it up to the whole world, you get all kinds of fun comments. So hello, everyone out there. Okay, here we go. It took me a minute to figure out how to do screen share on this one. It's a little bit different. Can you guys see the screen? It says Rock Falls Community Building. Thumbs up if you can. No, thumbs down. Okay, well, let's keep working at that. Can you see anything?
Oh, wait now. Add to stream. I needed to add it there.
Okay. So this is an example. I'm in the visitor mode. So basically we have just a graphic at the top. It gives them all the information that they need to do. I see my coworker has posted on here recently, but if you were to scroll through, we do not post very often. It looks like some of us has even been cross-posted from other events or activities. But basically, it just has the information. If you were to send us a message, it pops up a note that says, I'm sorry, we don't monitor this account. Please give us a call for rentals at 625-4500, all that stuff. So there's all the basic information. You can see we're not trying to get followers. I've got 197. People do check in here. What it allows me to do when I do a post off of one of my regular pages where we actually do most of our work, we can tag this page and it makes it so that people can find the information quickly. But this is example to me, basically like a landing page. And actually there's probably more posted in here than what I would normally have. But there's multiple of us working off of our Facebook account. So I think some of the others have tagged in there a little more. But we don't put a lot of content, don't have any intent to, but it's findable. Yes, go ahead.
From my page, I've discovered nobody sees it. It shows up that maybe 5 people saw it.
Oh, as far as visitors who are viewing your page, there's she's talking about like the Facebook like statistics and information. Well, that tells me that if people aren't seeing your page, then you're not advertising out in the world enough for people to find it, which can mean a lot of different things. And we can go into that a little bit more. The other thing is you want to make sure, and this is a simple thing, is your page published to be set for the whole wide world to find. If it's not, you need to make sure that you've changed that. And then the third thing that you want to make sure that's happening is that you're making engaging content. And so that's something we can actually talk a lot about today, because you can have a ton of stuff on Facebook, but if people aren't engaged with it, then you might as well just have the community building page that I have, and we just throw up something once or twice a year that tells people how to rent with us. So that's a really good question. I saw you nod your head, and it sounds like you have made sure your page is published. So kind of on the side of getting it out there into the world. So you want to make sure that everyone you know is following your page. And so you need to have some, if you have an email blast group, make sure people are following your page. Every single place that we do advertising or we connect with people, whether it's, you know, like for you, maybe doing web design, make sure every single client is aware of your Facebook page. And then have content that they'd be interested in, because they might not be interested in hearing about your dog chasing squirrels, but they might be interested in how having a website is going to build their business, and 3 things that they need to know about content on their website being kept up to date, which would then kind of generate some revenue for you. So does anybody have, we're talking about like content for your Facebook page. Anybody have questions about that? Would you like me to share some more information about that? Matthew says yes. Dave says yes. So would we be okay to move in that direction? Sound good? Okay. So I just wrote down a few notes about this. Just some quick advice. Okay. So when you're making a Facebook post on a business page, number 1, always have an image. That's kind of mandatory. And I hear, so some of you might know that. So always have an image, but the most important thing about your image is that your image is engaging. So it needs to feel like it's somebody I would know, and it needs to link to something that combines with what you're saying. So if you're talking about computers, having a great graphic about computers would help people connect the dots. So everything we do here, we combine words and images together to make sure that it's just absolutely great. They see the image, they know what I'm talking about, and then they can think about the text that I have in my Facebook post. The shorter your text is in a Facebook post, the more the Facebook algorithm likes it and wants it to get out there, because Facebook is trying to be like Instagram, which it owns. They're 2 very different things. Instagram is 100% image driven. Facebook's trying to figure out its place in the world right now, and there's going to be a lot of changes, and it's going to be kind of weird. Short term, long term. Matthew, did you have a question? Go ahead and unmute yourself. Yep, thank you.
I had learned years ago, I don't know if this is still true, and so I'll ask if you know. At one point, Facebook was making the reach lower if the text was more than 20% of the surface area of your image. So if you had text and then 20% of it was made up of like in your image, if more than 20% was text, then it would depress the amount of reach you had. Do you know if that's still?
100%. So that is true still. It continues to do that. It also occasionally works, and sometimes it doesn't work, but it will scan your image for text. So it will know what text is in your image and then help use that for its algorithms, which is cheating in my book, but it's okay. Well, you know, half of the time we're trying to trick Facebook into getting us the most views possible. So a couple things that you really want to know, and I can screen share some stuff here as we go a little bit too, but if you have a website listed in the text of your Facebook post, it goes down on the algorithm. It wants you to keep everybody on Facebook. So a couple of things that we do is we'll create an event. So I have an event coming up, and instead of referring everybody to look at the event details on our website, we send them to the Facebook event, which does have that link, and it gets us up there and seen more. The less text you have in your post, and sometimes it's unavoidable. Like you're in real estate, you have to put some stuff in that post. Like it's not avoidable. But the less text you have in the post, the more it likes it. But you also have to think about like, what does it look like to the person that's reading it? I tried to pull up a couple of them here, and I have one of my coworkers puts like all of the text. It's like a page of text every single time. I'm like, no, cut out all the words, basic details, tell people where to go. So that's really important to pull that text out as much as possible. Just limit it down. I actually go through and I'll write up what I want, and then I go through and I just take out words. So I get down to the point. Another really handy tool that I wanted to point out to you guys, it's yaytext.com. I'll send that in the chat. And then I'll show you on my screen share if I can do that again. That's a little trickier on this platform.
Yeah, it is.
And that's okay. I think I might have it. So go ahead and post that up there for me, pretty please. So this is a website. If you ever see someone who has like a different type of text on their Facebook post, I don't know if you can see this clearly. I'm trying to zoom in a bit, but I'm a little limited. Okay. So I just did a Facebook post today, and we were talking about cookies, and I was like, your staff wants these cookies, and then was talking about that. So this gives you different font options that you can copy and paste. Some of these are ridiculous. You would never use them. But the one that I use a lot, let's see if it'll load here, is basically like a bold version. I don't think it's going to load, but if you were to keep scrolling down here, here it is. This here is a bold version of Facebook fonted text. You can just copy it. And then if you were creating, I have a lot of windows open. I'm so sorry. I was trying to make sure I could have everything open that I wanted to. So if I were to create a post, you can kind of see it here. This is a good example. In this post that my coworker created, she has copied that bold text in here, and it just makes such a big difference. You can see the most important thing. So she's got a lot of text, but we use that in order to be able to, kind of call attention to the most important parts. I'm sorry, as I zoomed in, it kind of freaked out, but you can see that bold text.
Yes. Yeah.
That makes a big, big difference. And kind of back in there, some of these you don't want to use. This one here is one I use a lot too, because it's a little bit different. If you've seen anybody on Facebook, this is the website that they're using to do that. You can bold individual words. You can do your whole font. Be a little careful because not everybody's computer reads all these really fun ones the same. The regular Facebook font in bold or bold italic works fine every single time. Another resource, so you got to think about even like your text as an ad. I'm trying to see if there's anything else on here. I haven't made some of these, so I'm a little bit behind on the times. But think of your text as an ad. So this is kind of a good example here. Where can I have a gathering that won't break the bank? I have found that the first line of your Facebook post, if you're asking a question that represents a problem, so where can I find an agent who will do a great job selling my home, is a great way to start that. So whatever your problem is that you want to solve, make a question that pretty much asks that question. Then second is to make sure you have the answer to that question in your post. Really simple. Like the next line down, it needs to be clear that it is done. Or it is answered in there. And then kind of have all the details of how they can figure out how to get the rest of their information. So another resource I wanted to show you is Emojipedia. So we like to use emojis in ours. Don't go crazy. Actually, when emojis started, I was like, oh, gross. I don't like that. I'm like, I don't understand it. It's kid stuff. It doesn't make sense. However, this is a good resource. Go ahead, Dave.
Can you put that in the chat, please?
Yes. Let me get the link here. I apologize because on my side, I must be sucking up all of the internet with this chat. So it's just running a little slow. So you can kind of see Emojipedia here. And I will copy and paste that link. So say I'm doing a post about Christmas. I can just type in the word Christmas. And it'll pop up all of the emojis that go with Christmas. What's really convenient about that is I can never find an emoji that I'm looking for. So I'm like, okay, I want to talk about the best pie in town. I want to put a piece of pie on my thing to kind of call attention to it. And I can't find the stinking pie emoji. And I'm spending 20 minutes to do that. We're already spending too much time on Facebook. We got to get this done. So this is kind of handy. Police. And it'll give me like the police car and the siren and the red police car light and the policeman and the policewoman and all the different skin tones. So you can get all of that stuff. I mean, and so basically what I do, like if I wanted the police car light, I just click it. This is what I love. It's like so fantastic. It just saves my life. And it'll pop up the thing and I click copy and I can just paste it. You can use this for anything too, not just Facebook, but super, super handy for Facebook. So you can see I sent that in the chat super fast. Okay. One more resource I wanted to talk about today is, did anybody have questions before I move on?
Well, I have a question. I've tried using my page to promote this success circle, and I have used events, but okay. I still only get 4 or 5 views. So this was one of the reasons why I wanted to try this using StreamYard so that I could live stream to Facebook, knowing that when people are on Facebook, they usually don't want to leave it. So I get all of the things that you're saying. Make it visual, make it short and snappy and all of that. But my thinking has always been that your marketing needs to be about engagement first. And so I began to think about, well, maybe the right place to live stream to would be more a group rather than a page. So I would appreciate a little bit of discussion about the difference between a page and a group, and also your own profile. Like when do you post to your own profile?
Great question.
those are questions that I have, but I'm connected to a lot of old friends on Facebook, but they're friends. They're not people interested in what I'm doing particularly. So, like, I'm confused about when is the best time to use all of them.
Okay, I can give you an answer to that. I'm going to give you the short version. But what I've actually done is in the chat, I just sent a link to a webinar. It's the one I kind of referenced at the beginning. And so we could probably spend 5 hours going over like a marketing plan. Like realistically, that's what the answer to that question is. And what you need is some practical advice for today. So I'm sending you that link to the webinar. It's free. I think if I remember correctly, it runs between an hour, hour and a half. And she really focuses on like how to use social media to get you to sales, because that's really what you want, right? Like you're more focused on your media as a marketing tool. So you had some really good questions. There were several in there. Okay, let's talk about personal accounts and business accounts, and then we'll get to the group one. So remind me if I don't get to the group fast enough. So personal account. So the personal account, that's me, my life,
I see
my
a
family.
black box in the middle.
Oh, hang on. I need to stop sharing my screen. Thank you. There we go. Hi. Okay, so personal, Bethany has her own account. That's where I share my opinions, where I share my family, things that are for friends. Then I have a business account because not my accountant probably doesn't care about my family, but he wants to do business with me and wants to get more customers, right? So I have 2 separate accounts. Everything work related I put on the one account, and I think very carefully about what I put up there. So for Christmas, I'm going to post a Christmas card, Merry Christmas from my family, because I think that those people would appreciate that. However, I don't post the majority of my family life on that account. I kind of keep that separate. The other thing is on my personal account, there is going to be some crossover. I have friends that I work with in both areas. So Dave might be a good example. You work on multiple things. So you might want to have him be a part of your personal life and your business life. But business, I'll share things that I have on my business account to my very personal, the Bethany that I really am account as well. Because sometimes people want those community updates. They want to know a little bit, but the majority of my business stays on my Bethany business account. Okay. So that is one tip and tool. What I feel like you're really asking me with that question is, how do I get more friends and more followers on my business side? That is one way to do that. Because people want to interact with you personally on Facebook. They do want to interact with your business, but they want to actually interact with you personally. So you may think about making just a separate account that's friends and family, and then having your account for business where you really just interact with that. The biggest question is, are you inviting people to participate in your Facebook page? Because if you're not creating that invitation out there in the world, the only other alternative to get people to find you, well, there's 2. One is just be so interesting that everybody's liking and sharing everything that you do. So you post something and Dave shares it and then 400 other people share it because it's so awesome and interesting. That's extremely hard. That's like twice a year we hit a home run post that gets like 20,000 views. It's for us, every time I post that there's counterfeit money going through our community, I get 20,000 views like in 10 hours. I mean, it's ridiculous because there's probably counterfeit money running through our town every day of the week. But when the police share a thing and I'm like, okay, we're putting the news out there, people go crazy. So for example, right now, say you were going to take advantage of this new change that Facebook is offering. And you said, hey, I wanted everyone in my community to know, community being your network, not necessarily your hometown and your circle of people that you work with, that Facebook is changing. It's a big, huge stinking deal. And here's a link to a free webinar. You might get some shares out of that. Make sure that your business is tagged and linked in that post so everyone knows that that came from you. And then that would help build your business page because you've got interesting content that people are sharing and interacting with. Will frequent posting help get more following? Yes, carefully. You have to be thinking about what you're posting, and you don't want to post more than 2 times a day unless your content is absolutely fantastic. So, you know, if you're just posting about the weather all day long, it's probably not interesting enough for people to get excited about. Okay, so I know we kind of have a little limited time. The third thing you can do is advertising, and I know in the notes you sent me before the show, you asked about boosted posts and Facebook advertising. Again, I'm going to totally reference that webinar because she tells you how to do it to make it successful. If you're looking beyond your hometown, which it sounds like everyone in this group is basically doing that. So hometown advertising is very different than worldwide advertising, and that webinar will answer that question, and it's a big question. The big thing I can say is for you guys, you want to stay away from a boosted post. A boosted post really, it's designed differently than when you create your own ad set. I'm sorry, a giant piece of snow like flew off the side of the building down my window, and it's kind of scared me. So a boosted post is really designed to get that post directly to your local users. So people in your community, like your hometown, and people who are directly linked to your page. Now, when you create a fresh ad set, and she goes over all of this in that webinar, you're going to target your market. So you can target small businesses, you could target hospitals, you could target like all of these things. You can narrow that down. And there's a ton of questions about that. But when you go from like a town of 20,000 reach to like the whole wide world, if you don't narrow that down, it's like you can't hit anything and you're just wasting money. So you really want to go through making sure that your ad's created in the right style. You want to make sure that your ad is reaching the right people and you're spending the right amount of money. And she just goes over that in a way that we would never have time to get into today because it's a lot of things. And then the last question that was in that string of questions was about groups versus business page.
Yeah.
So first part of that is always have a business page because it's going to get found and it's what people are searching for. So make sure that your business page is really clear about who you are and has, the right information in it. The group page is really meant for conversation.
Right.
So they can be really useful, again, if you have users. If people aren't finding your group page and your circle's not big enough to draw people to that group page, you've just created another Facebook thing that you have to monitor. And I have a few of them. So I've made groups for like my volunteers. And when it's summer and we need a ton of volunteers, it's super great because I can post in there, hey guys, we have a volunteer opportunity. And if there's a lot of volunteers attached to that group page, I get volunteers filled like this, where they're really slow to come in off my business page. But I have another group that's like small businesses that are based from home. And man, they were excited for like 2 seconds and then they just didn't care anymore. So it never grew. There's like 10 people in there. They don't care. I post in it like twice a year when I think there's something they care about, but they just didn't want to interact. What they wanted for content wasn't what I think that I had time to curate maybe. But if you only have 5 or 10 people in your group, you're just wasting your time. Just have them be on your business page. You want to have a group that's like active, engaging conversation. So you want to at least have 20 people, but they have to be active users. I mean, you can have 20 people who are doing nothing and it's just nothing again. So, I would say focus on mastering your business page before you master a group. Use a group as a tool to kind of drive people back to your business page. The groups that I am a part of personally that I love to be a part of, there are like, I don't know, this is like a Midwestern mom thing, but we like sales groups where they're selling things locally. We also really like the groups that tell us like where there's good sales, like at stores. So whether it's a grocery store or Amazon or whatever, like, oh my gosh, we spend so much time on there. But that doesn't mean you can't be a part of those groups and engage with them. I see women post on there all the time and they're like, hey, this is a cool resource I found. So you can like have those. The other ones that I participate in are probably more like people in my age demographic and interest demographic. talking about things that I'm interested in. So there's one that's like a political group where no one can talk trash about anyone else, and we post really weird, dumb stuff and kind of laugh at it and talk through it, and it's kind of fun because nobody gets angry. So yeah, just be really careful about the time you invest in that, because you can spend a lot of time creating a group, and if you don't have a big enough circle, you're not going to get where you want to go. That's really the way you have to think about Facebook is like, you know, you have your inner circle of friends and family, and then you have that next ring and that next ring and next ring. Your Facebook is that way. Like it shows the reach of people that you have in your digital world. And so if you're trying to increase that, you got to go out and meet people and invite them and like them and you know, interact with them and get them to come to your page. If you don't go out of your house ever, you're not going to make new friends in real life. So it's kind of like Facebook's the same. You have to go out and invite people to come back into your page. So, okay. I had a question pop up here. Any idea where Facebook.com workplace from Facebook fits in? It's called a workplace from Facebook for a reason. Okay, I'm not familiar with that, but Facebook is like changing stuff all the time. I've seen it pop up recently. I think what Facebook's trying to do is make it, I mean, again, they didn't ask us what we wanted. They said, oh, this is what we need, what people think that they need. So they are trying to essentially, because I know a lot of us are using this at work. So I have 3 people in my office that all post to our business account. And then we also have like different event pages that are actually business pages rather than an event that comes and goes. And so they're trying to like make that into one spot where we can all kind of work together. They have not mastered this. So I don't like to try new things from Facebook until it's mastered, because it usually screws up pretty bad. And it's very stressful, and it drops all your content that you schedule. That's a tool I haven't talked about a lot, but Creator Studio, if you have a big enough Facebook account, Facebook automatically moves you over to Creator Studio. It is a total nightmare. The only nice thing that's happened with it recently is that they have made it so you can actually post to your Facebook and Instagram and schedule all of that from the same platform. But it's kind of a jerk, and it doesn't work half the time. So have fun with that if you get that. I have one account that I manage that's for a church, and it does not have Creator Studio. It's the old Facebook style, and I love it. And all of my other accounts have Creator Studio, and I mean, there's a lot of cursing that happens with that program sometimes, and it's not optional for us. And we can send all the reports that it's broken all the time, and they don't do anything. So I'm not that big.
So I'm another question that has arisen in my mind as you're talking is, I mean, is it important to find some way to link your group to your page?
Yes.
And if so, how do you do that?
From your page, it'll allow you to create a group directly from your page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just anytime that you're making an event, like a Facebook event, like you should make a Facebook event for all these live streams, and then that way people can share and like link into it. You want to create it from the business page, and the same with groups if it's related to that. And they get kind of wonky about how to figure out how to do that, and sometimes they take it away and give it back. And I really don't know today. Like if you're going to go do it today, they're rolling out changes. I logged into my Facebook today, and I was like, oh. I really want to talk about Facebook today because I can see it's changing.
Right. So I'm checking my watch here, and you did mention when we started that there were a bunch of changes that were announced. Is there anything that out of that group of things that you read that you think would be applicable to this group?
Yeah, and man, so I was reading about it, and they're taking away the like button.
Oh,
so, I mean, that's what I read yesterday, is that they're going to take away the like, but I don't know how this is really going to work. What I can do is interpret where they're going. How about that? So Facebook, and this has been for a long time, Facebook doesn't want a business page's post to be seen without you paying for it. So that's why, like, we went from, I used to post all the time and have 1,000 views on every single post I did. And they changed that so that it's just so low now that you want to put a couple dollars on every post, basically. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Again, I'm marketing in a small town versus the whole wide world. Mm-hmm. So they're taking away the like button. And I don't know what the goal is of that, because that's an engagement driver for them, and they want people to stay glued to their Facebook, so they need ways to engage. So I'm not really sure why. The other thing I heard was that the way that our posts are going to view in someone's newsfeed is changing drastically. And I didn't get to dig into it much, but what I heard is it's not like going to just run in their newsfeed. It's almost like it's going to be like the chamber has a new post. Would you like to see what they've posted? And then they might have to click a separate link, or it might preview that. I'm going to say again, thumbs down, Facebook. We didn't ask for that. But I didn't like it when they changed the font size and did a couple other things either. So I don't know. I don't like change, I guess, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And Fred had a question a minute ago. Fred, what was your question?
We've had classes about that, haven't we? About we don't like change.
Yeah.
Yes, we've talked about that a great deal.
I just held one like a week ago, a whole webinar about it. It was kind of long. Okay, Fred, what's your question?
My question is, it appears to me that Facebook is almost your job. How much time out of your working day do you spend on Facebook? Because it's fantastic.
Yep. It's not that much, actually. So when Facebook first came out, I mean, I'm talking like 12 years ago, maybe even longer. I don't even remember. I've been here forever. My boss, who was in his late 60s, says, we need to get on Facebook. I said, oh, no. Because the last social media platform that I had been really involved in was MySpace, and it just disappeared overnight. I mean, like crazy. It was like we had so much invested in it. It was like gone. So when I was learning how to use Facebook, I invested more time in it. But on the regular, basically our staff will spend, because I think that's the big question, we'll spend 2 to 3 hours a week just scheduling out a long segment of time. So like, for example, if I have an event coming up, I might know that I need to post about it 3 times. I try to schedule all of my posts out for that month or whatever for that topic, so that I can, kind of condense my time. I've got all that idea, my whole marketing plan in my head, and I can get it out there. So I actually, it just depends on the amount of advertising that we're doing. If we have a really big community event, we have one that's usually attended by like 15,000 people over a week, like in person. So that particular event, we might spend 10 hours of time planning out all of the marketing. That includes live videos, Facebook event links, all of the actual ad design that we do. Like, we might put a lot of time into that. But in general, when I manage our Facebook, I check it every morning. I spend about 15 minutes on there making sure that I've gotten any comments or questions answered. If anything pops up through the day, usually I kind of keep it logged in. And if something pops up, I'll interact with the person. But in general, I don't spend a ton of time on there. I just schedule everything out. So in that content creator, or if you don't have that, if you have the old version of Facebook still, you can schedule all of your posts. And we find that to be really handy, because we can just sit down and I can schedule like 90% of what I want for a month in one morning and let it run. And then all I have to do is check in with stuff as I go through the day. Or if I don't need to interact that much, like some of my other pages, I don't keep logged in that much. I just check them every few days or as something comes in. I personally don't have notifications for Facebook linked to my emails or anything else, because it's like too much. So I prefer to just log in and check everything. But it's shockingly less than you would think. I spend more time designing the ads I want to put on Facebook than anything else. And that's because I'm really picky. A couple other resources I just wanted to maybe share with that. because I only have a few more minutes, but there's a website. It's called canva.com. I'm going to send that to you guys. It's a free graphic design tool, and I think a lot of you probably have some design background, but my coworker has a degree in graphic design. I've been doing it for like 16 years. I like it because for Facebook and Instagram, it has layouts that work really well, and then you can change all the colors, pictures, text, everything, but it's so much faster than anything I can do in Photoshop. So I use it a lot. Like, I just need to post something quickly. I just go in there and I've already got my logo loaded. It just takes me like 5 minutes to create an ad instead of an hour to design one. Right. So that's a really good resource for me. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you're mentioning Canva, and we have talked about Canva here. And I've been recently experimenting with sort of something similar to Canva. It's called InVideo, where you can you can create a small video. So I've tried posting a few of those little videos on Facebook because they're short, and I'm wondering what your thoughts about using video as well as, you know, nice images.
Video is like king on Facebook, and I don't really know why, other than it auto plays all the time. Like my husband, every time he's on Facebook, it's just all that shows. So for men, most men use Facebook to watch videos, and I mean, it's like videos of cars crashing into a lake. I don't even know. Like I don't know. It's just the way the statistics say it's the way that their brains are wired. Like, so, I'm like, he's like, look at this. And I'm like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I don't understand why we're watching it. Like, I don't know. Sorry, there's a lot of guys on here. It's okay. It's how your brain works. It's not how my brain works. Sometimes it's funny. Most of the stuff he shows me is the dumbest. I don't get it. But
I resemble that remark.
Whatever. I don't know. Visually wired brains, I guess. I don't know. So, yes to video all the time. Live ranks better than not. Also share one more resource here. We started using OneStream to schedule live videos. So most of my videos that I post are actually scheduled out. They have a free version for videos 5 minutes or less, but anytime I do a video, if I were running this, I would do a pre-video like 5 days before saying, hey, we're going to have this event coming up. We'd love you to join us. It might be a 30-second video, but I have it all pre-scheduled. So it's just posted for me and I don't have to mess around with it. And I can like take 5 takes of the video if I want to. It doesn't matter. We've started using this a little bit more heavily, and I've paid for a subscription so I can do more with it. But anything I can schedule in advance, man, that just saves me so much time because I can do it when I want to do it. We're doing like a chamber chat now. So every Friday at 2:00, one of us is on there talking about something relevant to business. And it's all pre-recorded. Like I can do a whole month and post it like it's new. Go ahead, Matthew.
So are you saying that OneStream, when it schedules a video, Facebook treats it like a live video?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. See if I can show you kind of what my screen looks like, what the options are on this. I'm really struggling with the screen share, guys. I apologize. Let me see. I'll just send you the link. You can kind of look at it, but it treats it like a live video. So like I had one the other day and I use InShot on my phone. There's a million video editors, whatever you want to use. Yeah. But I basically made like a 1 minute gap at the front of my video that says the chamber is going live at 2:00. So for 1 minute, it showed a graphic and it said, you know, tune in at 2:00, we're going live. And it had some like flashing design, whatever, I don't know. And then it kind of, so what happens on Facebook is when you're about to go live or when you've started going live, it starts popping up notifications to everyone who likes you. Hey, they're going live. They're going live. They're going live. Do you want to see it? And so the graphic said right there, we're going live at 2:00. So it wasn't like people were just seeing, you know, blank nothing. It like let them know, make sure you stay on here because they're going to do something. And that draws people to your live video as well. But yeah, it treats It treats those scheduled posts. It posts as a Facebook Live video. There's a process to do that, and they've got a great tutorial. I have heard it ranks a little bit lower in the algorithms than if you were to actually go like walk outside and be like, I'm live right this second. But I don't notice a difference for us. I think it's fine. Go ahead, Matthew.
Just a follow-up question. So can you use, you can pre-record with OneStream, and you can say do a countdown timer to when you're going live. And can you then switch over to live? Because one of the attributes I like about live is you can interact with people while you are live. Like you can see the comments and interact with them.
I think OneStream might have a feature to do that, but I know there's one called OSB that does do that. It's basically a streaming service, but it's not scheduled. You can't schedule it.
Is that what you guys were talking about last week? OSB?
Are you talking about OBS or OSB?
OBS. Maybe that's what it is. I don't use it. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I'm aware of it. So that one works like you can't schedule it, but you live stream.
You can't schedule using OBS. However, you all need to know that if you're using this StreamYard, you can schedule it, and it automatically schedules your session in both Facebook and YouTube. It doesn't schedule in Twitch, however, but it does in Facebook and YouTube. So it's another way to do some pre-scheduling.
OBS would not schedule it, but if you wanted to interact, you want to have a video, live stream the video and then talk to your audience, you'd be able to do that, but you wouldn't be able to schedule it. You'd have to do it live at that particular moment. It's
a much more advanced program than OneStream. OneStream just takes over our account for 5 minutes and posts the video for us, which what we do is we tell people that we're going to interact with them in the comments section. So while the video is posting, ask me your questions and we'll reply there. And for the most part, I've not had anyone who thought we weren't live. So, I mean, but I record I don't edit my video much. So if I say, or, short of something catching on fire, that natural human feel of a live video is there. So
yes,
we tell them, what we say is that we're going to be what do I say? I don't always say like, see me live on Facebook. I will say that we're doing our chamber chats on Facebook Live. So it's a little worded differently, but I don't even think it would matter. Actually, I would say 80% of regular bloggers and people who do Facebook Live videos, that's actually what they're doing, is they're making it appear that they're alive. There is other software you can get out there that will allow you to play the video and then go like interactive. I don't know. It's all paid stuff, and I just stopped where I knew that we could manage it. So, all right, I got to hop off here in like 2 minutes. So what else do we have real quick?
Just one last question. You did talk about scheduling your posts.
Yes.
Is that what you're using? Is this live, a OneStream Live to do that, or is there another way to schedule all your posts ahead of time, just using Facebook?
Okay, so OneStream is only for scheduling live videos.
Okay.
Only, and it limits you to a certain number depending on the free or paid version and the amount of time that a video can be. In Facebook, on your business page, you should look to see if you have what's called Creator Studio. And that is what Facebook uses to schedule everything for you for free. Okay. That's what we have. Now, if you have the older version of Facebook and it never upgraded you like a year or two ago, on like our church account, sometimes there's a drop-down menu and you can put like schedule for later, or there's different places you can do that. But you can do that directly from Facebook for free. There's another website that you can use to schedule for multiple accounts. So if you have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, I mean, all that stuff, it's hootsuite.com. We were using this for a long time because I don't have time to like log into 3 accounts to schedule for Instagram. I just don't have time. You know, I don't want to manage anything else. So we would do all of our Instagram scheduling for the month on there, and it would allow that anything I posted there could be posted on Facebook and Instagram. And it basically looks like a calendar, and you just plug in your stuff. The free account, I think it limits you to like 30 posts a month. And I was like, that's plenty. So we were doing that. But Hootsuite's really great for that. That's been around for a really long time.
Oh, yes. Yes, we know about Hootsuite.
And so that's a good scheduler if you want to do multiple things, especially if it's not. And now Facebook under the Creator Studio, mine shows now, it just upgraded to this, where I actually have the ability to do the exact same publishing for Instagram. So I can just copy and paste it over. It's kind of a pain. It should just be like a checkbox, like scheduled to Instagram. It doesn't quite do that. If you have a post scheduled for Facebook, sometimes it gives me the option that I can post it on Instagram before the post goes onto my Facebook. But it's wonky. They're trying to put them together, but not like merge assets and keep them separate. It's just a mess. And again, no one asked me what we want out of Facebook or Instagram. I could have told them.
Right. That's true. All right.
Yeah.
I see we are just a little bit over the top of the hour. I usually, just before we close, I usually ask Fred if he would like to give us the last word.
Thank you very much. Bethany, that was wonderful. It really explained to us how much you know about Facebook and how little I do know. And that alone, and you gave us some great resources as well. I'm curious about the webinar, and I'll have a look at that webinar and see, because that sounds like a great resource amongst the others. So thank you very much for sharing all of your knowledge and skills. It was very impressive.
You're so welcome. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for having me. This is, like you said, I do it a lot, so I'm glad I could share. I'm going to reshare that webinar link so it's fresh too.
Right on. So in the meantime, just before we do our official closing, and please, anybody who would like to stay on for a conversation after we stop broadcasting, please do. But we don't have a topic for next week as yet. So that will be a topic of conversation for us. However, I do want to remind everyone it's important to do what you love with passion. And we shall see you next week. And so now I shall play the closing out.